welcome the wonderful Brenda Gabriel. Um, there's no to this. Brenda is an absolutely amazing human being, business owner, mother, and partner to her partner. But most honestly, the way that Brenda juggles her business and her clients' outcomes for publicity, I'm always in awe. So I'm delighted to have Brenda Gabriel with me for a case study. This is a brief case study interview. And Brenda, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Hello, Kat. It's lovely to be here with you. So I'm Brenda Gabriel. Like to call myself the publicity concierge
Yes.
because I like to think of the service that I offer to my clients very similar to that of a concierge service when it comes to publicity. And I'm very, very passionate, and it's something that's become even more prevalent in the press of late. I'm very passionate about helping people, develop the emotional and mental stamina as well as resilience to deal with being in the public eye and becoming a public figure, and their journey to becoming a public figure and becoming famous.
Yes, exactly. And because of that, we connected. I love Brenda to bits, and we've worked together on a couple of projects. And I think, Brenda, we've just highlighted the reason for us really connecting was needing that systemization to your majestic genius at the front end of, visibility and publicity. So really, this is just for you to just showcase why you decided to take the accelerator program and package your brilliance and what you got from it, and just really from your point of view.
Okay, well, Kat had been talking for a long time about systemization. And to be honest with you, when I first started out in my business, like most people, your focus is literally just on getting clients through the door and making some money. And that was exactly how I was. And there's no shame in that. And there's no shame in being that person who's focusing on, because in order to actually have something to systemize or package in terms of your brilliance, you actually have to know what your brilliance is. And actually learning what your brilliance is something that I work with my clients on. So it kind of made sense to work with Kat on actually learning how to package that up and go forward with systemization. So just a little bit of background on me. When I first started out, I didn't know much about systems and the importance of them. And although a lot of people were talking about them, they were talking about them from an angle of have a system in place so that you can sell a load of low-end products. And at that time, I wanted to move away from the need to focus on low-end products being the entire product
your
staircase
main focus.
which is what a lot of people do. And in my industry, a lot of people talk about DIY PR, and it wasn't something that I was it's not something I'm very passionate about.
It was key.
DIY PR isn't something that I've always been, that I really believe in. I mean, I understand the importance of it for some people, and I do believe that you can do DIY PR and actually get some good results with that. But obviously where I was taking it is that once you get past a certain stage in your business, whether it's business growth, what your turnover is, or what your actual longer term goals are, the next stage for that is to actually hire somebody who's an expert who can help you with areas of PR that you're unlikely to have knowledge around, including crisis management and reputation management moving forward. So what I noticed was that Kat was speaking about systemization in a very different way, and actually explained to me, that systems could still work or were still equally important in a higher end business, which is what I was looking to run. And the way she explained it just fit in so much better with what it was that I was doing and what I was hoping to achieve and aim. And that's why I hired Kat initially. The experience has been brilliant, Kat. So thank you.
Oh, it's so sweet. And I think that was it. What I love about Brenda is she knows what she really wants. She's not afraid to invest in herself, and you've 10x'd your business growth. And for me, it was really having the appropriate governance and compliance in place to apply for that 100K contract. Remember, Brenda?
Yeah.
And just knowing that she had that security, Brenda did not want to go in not being covered. So that was the great thing about understanding what gaps are in place and really having those systems and processes in place. So anything else, Brenda, for anyone who's thinking of knowing that they don't know what they don't know, but understanding the absolute importance of having systems and processes? Any kind of advice?
Oh, well, definitely. Well, just to touch upon what you just said about compliance, that is a huge part, and I forgot to actually say that was a huge part of what made me actually say this woman knows what she's talking about, because a lot of business in the online space is focused primarily on making sales, getting lead generation, getting people in, getting people through the door. But then what you're finding behind the scenes is that a lot of people and businesses are not compliant. They're not covered. They're not covered in the event that, you know, they lose a client, or if a legal issue comes up with their client, or any of those sorts of things. So Kat basically was running her business in a way that I was passionate about, because I wanted to make sure that the clients that I worked with in terms of PR were in a position to actually do all of the work and not actually get to a point where they would then be stuck. And that's where, for me, the value has really been added from Kat, because she was talking about everything around compliance, making sure that I was legally compliant, making sure that I had the right things in place, you know, for higher level clients. Because what you've got to realize is that depending on the level of people that you're working with, especially if you're working with people who are ex-corporate or are corporate, they are going to want to make sure that they have certain things in place to cover themselves. You know, Kat taught me all about IP, you know, she taught me all about you know, the need for compliance, the legal compliance, as I've said before. And so anyone who is thinking about moving forward with systemization, I would advise that they speak to you, or someone like you, if they're not going to reach out to you, who has a real solid knowledge and grounding and foundation in compliance, and also someone who has worked with big agencies. Because one of the things that really impressed me about Kat is the you know, the high level agencies that she's worked with, you know, such as eBay and various other companies. You know, they were, you know, really high level companies that know what they're doing. They've been running businesses for a very long time, and part of their success is down to knowing exactly what it is that's needed to run a successful business.
I think the thing for me was a really refreshing is with Brenda is, once we did the gap and the audit, we always lead with an audit, is that once that gap was there, you sort out the necessary expert. And so, you know, kudos to you. And once again, you're at another growth stage and you're doing it again, Brenda. So it's never a one-off task. You're always doing this and evolving. But thanks for those words of wisdom. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Just to add another bit, I've actually worked with Kat twice. So the first time was actually to just get my head around systemization in general, you know, building a business, what my product staircase was going to be, what my low end packages were going to look like, or lower end packages were going to look like. But the second time we worked together, it was when I was looking to, I was approaching a really high level client that could have, you know, really sort of taken off. And so I, you know, when I started speaking to Kat about this, she was like, hey, I've got something just for that, right? So and then we started speaking about it, and the value in that was like was just insane, because she basically showed me again, you know, even more gaps in terms of working with a big company in order to protect myself, in order to protect the interests of the company that I was working with, and the things that I definitely needed to know and definitely needed to have in place in order to make sure that onboarding was smooth, that the actual transition with the company was going to be smooth, and basically offboarding them as well was going to be an equally smooth transition. It so turned out that I didn't actually work with the company, but the value that I got from actually working,
you ended up
Kat, and actually, sorry, just to finish, and actually just to add on to that, just to add on to that, because it was really helpful, Kat. You know, part of the reason I think that actually things didn't go ahead with the company was because I was so on the ball.
You were so diligent. Yes, I think,
yeah.
and to be honest, I think that sometimes people don't know the expertise just because they're not familiar with working with bigger corporates, and they think they're a small guy. Once their back office is in play, I think when we got to the SLA agreement, and I wasn't keen for you to progress until you had confirmation on certain areas, you know, alarm bells started ringing, and we then mitigated those red flags. So actually, Brenda, you're right, you probably protected yourself there, because after that initial conversation, because we had put these things in place, they couldn't produce what we needed.
Yes, exactly.
So
Exactly
yeah, actually, yeah, thanks for reminding me. I forgot about that,
that.
but that actually does, you're absolutely right. It's about protecting ourselves as well as our clients.
Totally, totally. So thank you
Yeah,
so much,
yeah.
Kat.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thanks for that. I forgot. Anyway, to your success, Brenda, but for anyone else who would love to access your services, where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook at the moment. That's where I'm living, or in LinkedIn. So it's Brenda Gabriel on Facebook, Brenda Gabriel Publicity Concierge
Yeah.
on my Facebook page. And if you want to contact me on LinkedIn, it's just Brenda Gabriel, where I'm hanging out, sharing my knowledge and expertise.
Excellent. All right, my darling, thank you so much. And for anyone who's interested in systemizing their business, please look below and there will be a bit of a brochure for you to take a peruse at, and you can alternatively book a call. Thanks again.